The new coordinator at Florida State is known for his attacking defenses. They like to blitz from all different angles and positions. How do you think that your offensive line and your running backs have handled picking those blitzes up so far heading into the season?
I mean, if you look at us from, comparing us to last year, it's night and day. I mean, we understand protection. We understand the blitz package. We've worked on Florida State's blitz package for a long time. And, they are also playing their first game. So it'll be interesting to see, how much they want to blitz, where they want to blitz from. They're pretty consistent in the things that they like to do. They were really good blitzing at Memphis. And their whole philosophy is to try to blitz to get you off schedule. And really, blitz against the run. So we'll be prepared for that. Our plan, against a team like this has to be that your run game and your pass game has to be adaptable to the blitzes that they're bringing. And we've had a really good, 5, 6, 7 days so far, and we have the rest of the week to kind of polish it up a little bit, but I'm happy with where we are with our blitz pickup overall.
Next question, Kelly Quinlan from Rivals.
All right, I'll ask it. No one's asked it so far today. The quarterback situation, I imagine you've settled on what your plan is, and I imagine it's not to play all 4 guys. So you kind of just shed what you're willing to share on that to us?
We have named the Q. You guys will find out 3:30 on ABC who it is. I'm really happy with everybody's development. All 4 guys have still been taking reps. I think in this, like I've said in the past, in this COVID world, we have to be able to develop depth. The starter is getting the majority of the reps, and the second and third guys are kind of splitting the rest of them. I'm really happy with their development, and I'm really excited to see this dude play on Saturday, and I think you guys will be excited too.
Next question comes from Rod McKenzie from 247 Sports.
Hey, David, sticking with the quarterbacks, if I could, James Graham finished the season as the starter, and, we got to talk about him a little bit in the spring, but we haven't heard much about him since the spring. How has he progressed with his game since the spring?
Yeah, he's done a tremendous job just understanding football. The time that we had during the COVID, and we were out and we were missing some of the spring practices and that type of thing, really allowed us a chance to reset just from a football perspective with all the quarterbacks. And that was very beneficial for James because, fair or unfair, last year James got thrown into the fire and he had to kind of go, and he played a lot on instinct last year and made a tremendous amount of plays. When you go back and you watch the cut-ups of him, he made people miss on a very high percentage from a pass standpoint, just getting in and out of the pocket, being elusive, breaking down plays, keeping his eyes downfield, making plays downfield, that type of thing. The thing that's really been encouraging is that his understanding is so much higher. He knows where to go with the ball, and when you know where to go with the ball, you play with such confidence. I mean, he made a couple throws today that he never would have made last year just because he understood where to go with the ball, the timing of the throw, and the coverage, and knew that intersection of all 3 of those things was this is where the ball should go, this is how I should throw it. And he stung a couple balls in there that he physically could always do, but just mentally just didn't understand enough, and the football piece of it wasn't high enough where he knew where to go with the ball. Now he does, and he's playing at a really high level.
Next question from George Henry from the Associated Press.
Yeah, hey, Dave, I was curious, are you comfortable playing 2 quarterbacks on Saturday? You're going to have a starter to get most of the reps, but are you going to go into it thinking you're going to play more than one guy?
Right now, the plan is to play one guy. We always have a plan for the second guy, and it'll be like, these are the things that you're really good at. because you're not going to get enough reps, right? If you're the second guy, you're not always going to get those reps. We're probably going 75-25 with the starter reps. And so, you know, these are the things that you do really well. We actually have a couple of those guys be ready to go, and the skill sets may be totally different. You know, what are you comfortable with? Do you like throwing it out of the pocket? Are you not great in the pocket? Do we have to move it? What's your run game capabilities? So the plan would be to go in and let the starter roll, and hopefully he's flying around and making plays. But I would certainly, you know, not be against, you know, taking a guy out and putting a guy in and letting somebody settle down, or, you know, see something different. Or, like I said, I mean, we're just, there's so many unknowns with what's going on right now. You know, if you have one guy, unfortunately, you know, test positive, you may lose 5, 6, 7 guys, so you never know what's going to happen. You have to develop the depth, and especially in that quarterback room. I mean, we've seriously have told those guys, listen, at some point, every one of you guys may have to play this year, so you need to be prepared to do that. And I think that, you know, teams that aren't taking that approach are going to get caught short-handed if they're not preparing all of those guys to go. Fortunately, all of these guys have been really, really good above the neck. They're really into this game plan. They really, truly understand, you know, what Florida State is trying to do, and I think we'll be, sorry about that, we'll be well prepared. I lost my gig here.
Twist it up.
Yeah, I got you. There we go.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
All right, we're put back together again, and we'll get the next question from Ken Segura from the AJC.
Hey, Dave. I wanted to ask about the two of the freshmen that are on the list, Jordan Williams and Billy Ward. Just how ready do you feel they are? And it sounds like Jordan will be in the lineup, but just how much do you expect to be able to use them?
Yeah, I mean, Jordan's going to start at right tackle for us. I mean, that's there's no you know, no mystery around that. You know, he's very highly recruited. He's a really large dude. You know, he's a long way around that guy. He's got long arms. For a big guy, I mean, he's 340 pounds. For a big guy, he can really move his feet. You know, and it's going to be a good test, right? I mean, Florida State's defensive line is legit. So it's going to be a good test for him. I don't think he's going to be overmatched physically. He's strong. He can move his feet. It's, you know, going to be, you know, over the course of a game, can he sustain and be involved in trying to play 75 plays over the course of the game? And he's been really, really good in camp. Brent's done a tremendous job with him, just in his understanding. And really the great thing is that Ryan is parked right next to him at right guard, and you know, basically can help him through the game and, you know, talk things out. And Ryan's been around. He's a great communicator. He really understands football, so he'll be able to help him on that side of the line with the calls and that type of thing. But I think just from a you know, an athletic standpoint, you know, Jordan's going to be fine. It's just going to be like, hey, this is like real life under the gun ACC football right now, so it's going to be a little bit different, especially at the outset. And then Billy Ward has been really good. I mean, you know, Billy physically is like, you know, he's almost 260 pounds, you know, 6'3.5", 6'4". He's really strong. When he gets his hands on you, he's a really capable blocker. You know, he's got to develop, you know, being able to be out in space a little bit like those other guys are able to do, you know, in the box. You know, from a run game perspective, he's going to be able to you know, face people up and put a body on people. And, you know, he's deceptively good running down the field. So, you know, it's tough to put freshmen out there at all positions, but I think it was the same thing with Billy that we just talked about with the quarterbacks, right? You have to have a package of stuff that he knows how to do, that he could go in and give you real reps at, that he's comfortable with. You know, not ask him to do everything, right? We have plenty of dudes because we could go to different personnel groupings and run the same plays that we always run. But if you're going to put him out there, put him in positions where he's confident, he understands the play, and he could be successful. And then you know, like I said, move those guys in and out of the huddle.
Okay, time for a couple more for Coach Patenaude. We'll start with Kelly Quinlan from Rivals.
Hey Dave, I imagine you caught a little bit of some of the games this weekend, and the e-whistle seems to be kind of a thing that can give it or take it away. And I was just curious, kind of what your advice to your players are about finishing plays, holding on footballs, and that kind of thing with that.
Well, Coach Collins has an e-whistle, you know what I mean? So we've heard those things all through camp. It's certainly not as loud. It's certainly not as pronounced. But our guys, you know, one of our missions has truly been that we have to get 10 more feet, 10 more inches, 10 more yards. We have to finish runs. We've practiced like that. It really doesn't matter. You know, we'll keep running until, you know, they go corral us. And then when they do, you know, get the ball to the officials and let's go to the next one and let's go to the next one after that. But I think it's a little bit more challenging maybe for the defensive guys because it's kind of weird, like did the whistle blow or not, or, you know, is it loud or not? And, you know, our mentality is that we're just going to finish every run, every play until somebody tells us to stop and go back to the huddle or, you know, go back to line up. So a little different, you know, but I mean, everything is, right? I mean, you know, the crowds are different. You know, the travel is different. You know, the wearing a mask. You know, I'm gonna have to wear a mask. You know, in the box, that's different. I mean, everything is different, but it's also just what you make of it, right? If you make a big deal out of things, then they become a big deal. If you just say, listen, this is what we have to adapt and adjust to, then that's what we do. And you just, you know, don't really let it affect you. Go out there and block, tackle, run, throw, and catch. That's it. And that's what football is. And for us, we have to do that at a high level on Saturday. And our execution's got to be flawless. So, you know, when you do those type of things, it really doesn't matter.
Okay, final question for Coach Patenaude, Patrick Canaro from the Dahlonega Nugget.
Good morning, Coach. I was following up on Ken's question a minute ago, reference your offensive line. It looks very different than it did 1 year ago going into game one. Does it open up the playbook for you a little bit? Does it give you more options?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now, we should be able to, you know, open the playbook and run pretty much any play. You know, that's kind of how we feel. You know, we should be, you know, a lot more open. You know, a lot more multiple. You know, whether that means personnel groupings or the plays that we're running or the tempo that we're running it at or the different formations, different guys in different formations. You know, you should see a much closer resemblance of who we want to be. And again, everything starts up front. You know, can you run, block, and establish the line of scrimmage, right? You have to dent the line of scrimmage running the ball. You know, you just can't run side to side and get the ball on the edge every play. You have to be able to play physical downhill and run the ball downhill, and our running backs are really good. And our line is big and strong, and you have to be able to dent the line of scrimmage. You have to be able to move people out of the way against their will. And once you could do that, then you could get the ball on the edge. You could go play action. You could throw your screens, right? You could drop back pass because our guys, you know, aren't adverse to picking twists up and seeing things that they had never seen before. You know, the first game last year, they didn't even, you know, they hadn't even seen half of the things that we saw against Clemson last year. So this year, you know, has been a lot different, and certainly the play of the offensive line and the flexibility that they give us to open up our playbook would be huge.